Sports Card Culture Podcast number 29. We're back in studio, John. It is Rod Carew Podcast 29.
Yeah, you know who it's not? It's not the Dickerson podcast.
It's not the
He's
Chester
not
Taylor.
Not top 10 running back of all time.
I want to get comments from listeners. Where does Eric Dickerson rank in all-time running backs? Guarantees top 10.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Let's right before we
He
started
has
taping.
3 of the best seasons all time.
Okay. Who cares?
Okay.
Right before we started taping, Eric Dickerson's better than Emmitt Smith.
He is. Emmitt Smith is the most overrated running back.
Emmitt's got him beat. Barry's got him beat.
No, Barry does, but not Emmitt.
Peterson's got him beat.
Emmitt does not.
Frank
Yes,
Gore's got him beat.
He does not. Gore has more yards, but that's a bit.
Only by what, 20,000 yards, maybe?
Yeah, because he played 8 more seasons, not because he was a better running back.
So Dickerson couldn't hack it. Got it.
Dickerson had 6 seasons that were all better than any of Frank Gore's seasons. Not even Frank Gore's best season doesn't touch Dickerson's
That
top 6.
might be true, but
So
I don't know. I don't know that.
Are we
that's
talking
true.
longevity only, or are we actually talking like?
Well, I mean,
yeah, okay.
More than a master's degree program, and then decide you got to quit.
It's like saying Jerry Rice is obviously better than Randy Moss because he had more yards.
Not.
No, he's not.
He's not.
Because Moss's career was short.
But if Randy Moss only played like 4 big time seasons, and then left, then I would have to say, yeah, Jerry's better than Randy.
I mean,
I'm the one that makes the argument that Dante Culpepper is better than Frank Tarkenton, right? Yeah, but I make that in a very narrow statement of I'll take Culpepper's 04 season over any season that Tarkenton had.
So Dickerson led the league in rushing 4 seasons. Do you know how many times Frank Gore's led the league in rushing? 0.
Once.
No, never.
Yeah, I thought he did that. What's his best year? Or what's his best rushing year?
He's never led. Okay, I'm sorry. No, he doesn't. You're right. He has one. 06.
I'm super smart.
2006.
So I could have 20 led the league.
So, I mean,
But you add receiving yards in that, I bet Frank Gore might have them receiving plus rushing every year.
Frank Gore has career 16,000 and then 4,000 receiving.
I thought it'd be higher.
Dickerson has career 13,000 and 2,000 receiving.
Yeah,
so
he's got him by 5,000 yards.
And he's played 5 years more. So, I mean, he should Dickerson's a better running back than Frank Gore. All time.
Okay.
I don't think it's that close, actually.
Right, but this started out with you saying he's better than Emmitt.
Emmitt Smith is very, very much the byproduct of a very good offensive line, way more than you even realize. DeMarco Murray led the league in rushing in Dallas. That's how good those O-lines have been. He left, and he never had a year over 400 yards after that.
Well, I'll put it this way. I am inclined to agree with some of what you're saying because I hate Troy Aikman, and Troy Aikman is the worst Hall of Famer in the Hall of Fame.
He's the
Troy
most
Aikman is
undeserving
atrocious.
Hall of Famer ever, you think?
But here's the thing. The difference between my argument against Troy Aikman and my argument for Emmitt Smith is Emmitt Smith would have 1,600 yards rushing. Troy Aikman would have 1,700 yards passing.
Right.
And be top 5 in MVP.
I'd be curious to look. I should look up. I bet Eric Dickerson's per rush yardage is much higher than Emmitt's because Emmitt played longer, got more carries.
Well, yeah. So if you add in Arizona.
Yep.
But that's like Frank Thomas.
Believe it or not, though, Emmitt Smith only led the league in rushing 4 times.
Well, yeah, because Barry had him.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was second to Barry, probably 3 times.
Eric Dickerson was very good. Very good. I wouldn't put him top 5, but I put him top 10.
We can argue Frank Gore and be just fine. I don't know.
I think Frank Gore could be right near the edge of the top 10, like 9 or 10. Maybe 11, right in there.
We'll have to make a list for the next podcast. I'll do a little homework.
Well, I'll give you my list.
I'll do homework.
You want me to give you
right off the top of your head? I can't do it off the top of my head.
Here's my top 3. Barry Sanders.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Walter Payton.
Okay, I'm with you.
Jim Brown.
Then
probably. Then I'm actually going AP.
Yeah.
I personally would put Marshall Faulk in.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm going to put him next, but I'm going to put Faulk,
LaDainian and Tomlinson,
Emmitt, Dickerson, and Tomlinson probably as my next. That gives me 8. And then I might throw Gore. I might even throw Curtis Martin in there. There's a couple.
I don't know Curtis. I love Curtis Martin.
I'm trying to think of. I'm probably thinking of some vintage guys, some older guys that I've left out.
Yeah, and this is really top 10 of people we know, not necessarily of the
Jim
entire
Night
history.
Lane
Right. Yeah, I remember it was a hot night in '54. It's like.
I mean, Marcus Allen could be probably in your top, like near your top 10-ish.
Yeah, Marcus Allen's in there. I know we're missing somebody very obvious here.
So we got Emmett Berry.
We got to be missing somebody.
I mean, Walter Payton, obviously. I mean, there's some guys that once you start getting the top 20, it's like definitely varied opinions there. But no, I mean, I think I'd give Frank Gore a top 10 nod now.
I know we're missing somebody. I'm looking up right now.
Yeah, I like Bettis in the top near the end.
So here's yards. Actually, Martin is number 6 all time in rushing yards.
That's why I think Martin should probably be a top 10.
Oh, Thurman. Thurman's got him beat.
Thurman.
So I'm not going off just yards, but Thurman's got him beat. O.J. Simpson's probably got him beat.
I think I'd take O.J. out
And Jamal
of there
Lewis has probably got him beat. Now he's not in top 10.
I'd take O.J. out of there just because of him murdering.
He murdered his wife, so therefore he wasn't a good running back.
Nah, I just.
You gotta. Way to compartmentalize.
I'm just whiting out.
All right, fair enough, but he's still not top 10 then. Because would you put Jamal Lewis ahead of him?
I'd put Jamal Lewis. No.
I would.
Jamal Lewis had a couple really good years.
Yeah.
LT. Tomlinson's for sure top 10. He's probably.
And I would put better. I would put better. So now Dickerson's looking at 12, 13, 14.
No.
Hey, top 20.
No, I'd put Dickerson ahead of Bettis, not ahead of Tomlinson. I'd put him at like 8 or 9.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Ahead of Bettis, but not.
Yeah, not.
I'm gonna fight you on the Tomlinson.
No. Tomlinson doesn't have.
Tomlinson and Falk might be. If I were really to sit down and really pour into it, I could probably make an argument that 1-2 is not Emmett and Berry, but 1-2 is Falk and Tomlinson.
No, I got
Berry just from the receiving standpoint.
Yeah, but
the versatility, and you could have them
Berry
at any
played
situation.
For such a bad team, and he was their only offense.
But here's the problem with Berry. Berry might have caused the Lions to lose more games because of the way he ran. The Vikings would have had him at -8 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but that's not his fault because the fact that they were giving up so much pressure. No, it wasn't the way he ran as much as their line was not great too.
No, true. Yeah. But the way he ran, he ran backwards.
You put Barry Sanders behind the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, he smashes Emmett's record. He literally, it's not even close, actually, I don't think.
Well, I do believe Barry's better than Emmett.
I mean, Emmett's not nearly as Emmett isn't as powerful as Peterson, and he's not as shifty as Sanders. He's just a very, consistent, you know what I mean? Adrian Peterson was a holy terror for safeties.
Yeah, he was.
They did not want to try to tackle him. He put the hurt on him. And Barry literally just
the other thing was Peterson, and then that could make an argument why Peterson might be the best, although I don't think he's above Falcon Tomlinson. I think you can make a side argument based on a different way of looking at it.
Yep.
The thing about Peterson, though, is who else had that many people in the box?
Yeah,
trying to stop him.
Agree.
I don't know of any running back since I've been watching football
that they've geared up for more.
And I don't know about Walter Payton because I came in after he retired.
Well, and because Peterson couldn't catch, he wasn't he wasn't a threat.
Oh, can you imagine?
So if he
can you imagine if he was Falk catching the ball?
Him running after the catch was one of the
this whole conversation would not even be a thing. It would be like Peterson's the best player.
Yeah, no, really. I mean, or if he could block.
So I got a question for you.
Yep.
Last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago, because I do a podcast with some lazy people.
Some people.
So I took the field in the playoffs. You took the Nets.
Yep.
And they are getting trounced, 42-31. What are you feeling with the injuries? I mean, obviously Harden's probably not 100%.
So I don't think Harden's probably playing if the Nets win and Irving's healthy. Literally, that's.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Because they lost Irving, it was like, okay, we got to bring Harden back because we can't afford to lose this game. So it's a unique dynamic. Brooklyn, I think, was going to rest Harden the whole series.
Oh, you think so?
If they could have.
Oh yeah, because
you know what I mean. Yeah, they're up 2-0. If they could have gotten one in Milwaukee and then come home and gotten one comfortable. Just let him rest it.
No.
Now you got Irving out for 2 weeks. I mean, the disappointing thing about Brooklyn has been Durant didn't play great last game, but no one else shot the ball well at all.
Right.
Joe Harris.
He's got no help.
Joe Harris was the best, I think, efficiency shooter. I think he had the best 3-point percentage over the course of 2 or 3 of the last 4 years.
But could that be?
And he was
1
for
3
years. He's 1 for 11.
Wow.
It's like, ugh.
Some of it might be for this year. Just this is my very amateur basketball mind. Yep. Thank you for agreeing.
Yeah.
Yes. Amateur. But you know,
clearly.
Joe Harris is still Joe Harris, and if all the attention's not on their big three, we can spend some time on Joe Harris.
And I think
you don't got to be a basketball expert to understand that. You know?
And I think you have a real clutch factor. There's pressure in playoff basketball that like Joe Harris hasn't played in big games. He's not. Right. So that's where like I've always put my money per se. If I was gonna, put my money on a team, would be on the best superstar. Which right now we're seeing the Clippers. They were down 0-2, and Kawhi's kind of taken over. Now they're back to even.
And Kawhi's won before.
And you see like a calmness with him that you don't see with Don. I mean,
that Raptor team wasn't that great, right? I mean, if I remember right,
Kyle
wasn't
Lowry,
like
Siakam.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
The fact they won with the Raptors. I mean, they needed Durant and Clay to get hurt, otherwise they would win.
Fair enough.
But still, the fact that he beat Curry in that game 7, with what he had. I mean, Kawhi's clutch. Kawhi has beaten the Warriors super team and the Heat super team with LeBron. I mean, he hasn't he hasn't beat bad teams. He's beaten like some of the best teams. So. What do you think about the Suns?
Is there a reason? I mean, why is it? I don't like him though.
Kawhi?
Yeah, I mean,
he's just super quiet.
Is that what it is? He's not a personality.
No, he's not a personality.
Because I was thinking that the other day. I was going through some cards and I'm pulling out the bigger stars of the list, and I kept passing on Kawhi. Like I'll throw him in the budget boxes, and I'm going like, yeah, but why though? Why am I making this decision? You just think it's because he just doesn't like because he's got an anxiety disorder. Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I just
thought I
know,
read that somewhere.
I mean. He's a top 5 player in the league.
But he's like quiet.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I read that he had and I could be completely wrong, that he had some sort of not a disorder necessarily, but like he just doesn't want the attention and
which has
its
benefits and its downside. He isn't as strong of a leader as
he's not that Garnett like screaming in your face. Yeah.
But he's also he doesn't draw any off the court attention, but from doing stupid stuff. And
well, the other thing too is they say that about Cal Ripken Jr., where his steadiness was part of the reason why he was such a good leader.
Yep.
Was you could look to him and he would show you what you should be doing.
You could count on him too.
How to
Iron
act.
Man. He played every game. Like,
right.
Same thing with Kawhi. Like you feel like he's been durable. Like he hasn't missed big playoff games with injuries.
All right. So one of the other things we were talking about before taping, that we were talking about the memes. I brought up the meme with the 4 on the Nets where it says about how each player quit on their old team. And I kind of didn't like the conclusion. It was like, so they had to team up to win or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have thought, like, now we can quit together. Yeah. So, seems like that's what they're doing right now.
Well,
but then you brought up another one where it has Steve Nash all ready to go.
Yeah.
And so my question is, as a card podcast, how much does the Steve Nash top scoring factor go up overnight when he suits up? Let's say he scores 12 with 8 assists.
18 assists or no?
No, just a real simple game. 12 points, 8 assists, 2 rebounds. What happens to his cards? This is a parlor game.
Well,
right
here's the weird part.
Does it double?
Well, I'll say this much: Devin Booker and some of the guys who are playing as good as anyone in the playoffs right now, their cards aren't going up. So that's the hard part.
But that's a very different situation, though.
Yeah.
This is like the coach goes, put me in, coach. Okay,
I actually
bye.
think Steve Nash could function in an NBA game right now pretty well. Like because he was.
He's got to be 40.
He never relied on being the most athletic. He was always just crafty and speed of dribble. Like,
well, yeah, but he's slow. I mean. So he was 22 when I was 17. So 5.
Well, how old was
48.
Kobe? Kobe, because they were the same draft class.
Yeah,
Kobe
48.
No, younger than that.
Oh, it might have been a couple years younger. Because I'm just saying, when he got drafted, I was 17. So he's no more than 5 years older than me.
47. Okay.
47.
Close. 47.
No.
Wow. I mean,
sorry, I was off by a
what's
year.
the oldest player? There's been guys who have played older than that in the NBA. I think.
One of the 70s guys, yeah.
No. 80s Celtics. The other big guy with McHale.
Robert Parrish.
Robert Parrish.
Yeah.
I think at the time set
pulled
the
that
record.
one out. Yeah, Robert Parrish was 40. But
wait, he's 40. Okay.
He was 7 years older. Yeah, 40, maybe 42. got up there because he played for the Raptors last year.
Whereas baseball and hockey, like Gordie Howe.
Hockey, 50.
Wow, Joe Harris just airballed the shot.
So much for okay, so I got a real card one, right? So Evan and I were talking, and so I just bought a bunch of current stuff from a customer.
Yep.
My customer 2. What's up, 2? Thanks for the deal. Appreciate it. So we were talking about the select die cut prisms, all the different colors.
Yeah.
And they're not serial numbered. Right. So I got a couple things. One, what's the deal with the no serial numbers? Topps Cone baseball, they're not numbering anything, like unless it's an X factor. Like in the last 3 years, there's no serial numbers. What do you think?
Yeah, they're trying to produce more cards.
Are they just? Oh, and you think they're just trying to hide the ball?
Yeah, I think they're just. Yeah, unfortunately, I think there's a lot.
I thought maybe it was a cost saving measure.
No, I don't.
I mean, I don't know how much it costs. Like, I don't know how much it adds to the cost.
Well, and then this year with Select, they added a 4th level. So there's 4 and 3, which so that allows them. I don't know how much it allows them to increase their print run, but.
Well, you can increase it heavily because each die cut, let's say it's 500, but it's 500 times 74 colors. So it still look like a small print run.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That would actually be a reason why you should serial number.
You should, yeah.
Right?
Because, and you can do the color in 4 different parallels.
Right. And so you're splitting up so often that, you would look like a low print run, but if you add it all together.
Yeah.
So at some point, the market's really going to sit down and figure out what the most rare color is, because the problem we're having is there's a color-free type of box, so then we got to figure out, okay, do they make more blasters or more hangers? Do they make more megas or less than the blasters, but more than the hangers? But what about the Walmart hangers and the, you know what I mean? And so at some point, like I've noticed that like I don't see green very often.
Sure.
I see, but then what I don't want to get into, what if greens are some type of product that my customers just don't go to that store. They just don't like that box.
Right.
And then when I see them once in a while, like, oh, these must be rare. They're not. So do you know, like, any of the colors in Select that you think are particularly rare that are numbered?
I've seen some, I think whites are to 75.
Really? I got a bunch of whites, though.
But there's 2 different, that's the thing is
you're saying like field level 75.
And I think that's even more confusing. I'll say this much.
Where did you hear that?
Well, I'll say that. Let me back up.
Okay.
Last Bloomington show, I bought a card. I don't know. I don't think I talked about this because it would have been just a couple days. We did record one, I think, since then. But I bought a field level Mahomes rookie silver BGS 9.5.
Okay.
And I bought it basically partly. I mean, the price was right, meaning I was able to get it less than I thought it was worth going into the football season on Mahomes. But also, I think that's his single best base rookie card.
Because it's field level. Yeah.
So it's the rarest of them, and it's a silver, and it's high grade.
So it's going to be far more rare than an optic or a prism silver. Yeah.
Whereas well, here's the thing about prism that year, they're all silvers. So that he doesn't have a prism silver. It would be equivalent to a numbered prism. So all Mahomes' prism rookies are all silver looking.
Okay.
Because all the rookies were silver that year. So he doesn't actually have. And if you look at the value of,
I didn't realize that.
If you look at a Prism PSA 10, Mahomes are about 10,000, and the field levels are only about 15. A field level silver doesn't make sense. The card is 4 or 5 times rarer than a Prism.
Okay.
And it's not even valued at 2x. So I think there's also now.
But that goes into what we're talking about.
I'm talking
about
2017.
If we can figure out what colors are.
Well, and I'm talking about 2017 Select when it was only hobby. Now it's retail. This is the first year. So is Panini's decision to make Select retail going to hurt previous year Selects, or is it going to make previous Select worth more because now you have, you know what I mean? Like people are going to look at
from a brand standpoint, because it's retail though, I think a lot of people like Select. Maybe it just wasn't on their radar because it was hobby only.
Sure.
And there's so many customers who just buy retail. And so that could be that's kind of we don't know. We got to see what's going to happen.
I remember hearing some talk talk about everyone thinking Select was going to become the standard
because it was hobby only.
Because it was hobby only. Yeah. Now it might be. It might.
But all that came out right before it started being retail. So maybe with the more unsophisticated customers, they didn't extrapolate and go, oh, not anymore.
Right.
Maybe they said, no, that's just what I heard, and so that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Because I was hearing people coming in, is that Select? Is that Select? Can I see that Select card? And I was hearing that all the time.
And you actually got some Select on the shelf. We're sold out, so I haven't seen any more Select retail being offered to me to even buy. Whereas I'm seeing Chronicles blasters for football, and I'm seeing some other. So I mean, it's
just like anything. I mean, it looks like there's way too much of it. The 4 weeks that it gets released, and it's like, well, yeah, that's the 4 weeks it's getting released. Of course, it looks like there's a lot of it. I mean, there's no premium stock,
right?
And we're long past it, you know. Interesting. So you got a fun story that you started to tell me, and I was like, I think you said we'll save it.
Yeah, this is
so. Go nuts.
Here we go. Yeah, so I get a phone call about 3 weeks ago from a guy.
You did talk about this in the last podcast, the precursor. Go ahead and
so I get a phone call from a gentleman who was like, hey, I'm working with this family within this estate. We're trying to liquidate some cards. Are you interested in a 52 mantle? Obviously, yes. This gentleman I'm talking to on the phone is located in Colorado. The family he's working with is in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So somehow he gets a hold of us, and so we start talking. You know, ask him, hey, can you send me pictures? He's like, hey, they're at this bank in Hudson, safety deposit box. I haven't seen any pictures yet. No problem. I'm talking to the guy that he's communicating very well. Clearly, he's got a contract.
Now, to be clear for people outside the metro area, Hudson's right across the river in Wisconsin. So a lot of people who work in Minneapolis will live in Hudson. So it's not that far, but a little bit of a trek.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a trek. And so for me, I go, okay. So he says, hey, without getting into the details about the individual and why he couldn't. Okay, he's getting a ride to the bank. I'm meeting him there at 4 o'clock. I said, okay, I drive to Hudson last week on Thursday. I get there at 4 o'clock, and no one shows up for 20, 30 minutes. I call this guy. Hey, your client is not here. He's like, okay, I'll call him. He calls. He's supposedly getting a ride there from someone.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Hudson. They never make it to the bank. The bank closes at 5. They literally asked me to leave. They're like, okay, we actually have to close. I'm like, okay, this is fun. I've never had anything like this happen. I call my guy. I go, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I just sat there. I've never, you'd think the guy would be motivated to sell. I mean, when you hire someone else to help you sell your cards, you assume there's some value there, And I have still right now, as I call him, I go, I assume these cards exist. There's no way he's going to have us he's going through all this effort if he hasn't seen them or know they're there, right? I mean, he goes, I'm really sorry, man. I apologize. He goes, I'll pay you for your time. How much per hour? I said, I'm not worried about that yet. I'm at this point, I'm like, okay,
I want to see the cards.
What's the next step, He goes, so he calls me Saturday, and he goes, I'm flying into town on Wednesday.
Okay.
And he's actually driving over. So he was dependent on someone else
to
kind of helping him get. And he's like, I'll just come in, we'll get it done. So this
because it's big enough. Now you still don't know. It's not graded, so you still don't know what kind of condition it's in. Now,
I started thinking
a mantle authentic is worth how much? Beat up, trimmed.
Well, trim's
beat
different.
up and trimmed or whatever, Would that be will that still be an authentic, or would that say altered on it?
Altered.
It would say altered. So what's an altered?
Altered means it's their.
No, but I mean, like, what would that price be on an altered?
20,
that would be the worst thing to be, right?
20, 30,000.
And it's beat up?
Yep.
Let's say it's beat up and altered.
A PSA 2 is 50,000.
Okay. So we're talking no matter what condition.
Yep.
We're interested.
We're 25K or more. And he knows this. I've told him. I'm like, and I said, it all comes down to condition. I said,
right.
But keep in mind, he has another 70 cards of Hall of Fame rookies from the 50s and 60s. So there may be.
But that mantle alone is worth the effort to put into it. Yeah.
And he knows that, and so it's such a unique scenario because I've never dealt with this guy's like a realtor / I don't know. He works with businesses, kind of helping market things and stuff.
Okay.
And so somehow I don't know how I haven't asked a ton of details on the fact that I'm like, this is weird. I sat here. He never showed up. Well, then he's like, hey, do you want to? When the guy comes, do you want to go to his house and look at some more cards? And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, is he gonna?
Did I not drive the husband?
Well, and he said he's like, oh, he's at Menards getting a ladder for his job, and I'm thinking like, well, how much are they paying him? Because I think this would take priority over like taking a day off work. Or,
I got to tell you, I just think it's funny that you go on a date for romance and you end up with cards.
Yes.
But then you go get cards and you get stood up.
And I get stood
up. That's
up.
weird.
I know.
I mean, right?
Especially when like I'm the one.
You have a date with a man and he's like, nah.
He's like, I'm not that interested in your,
I like you, but I don't like you like that.
Yeah, exactly. So this week, tomorrow, Jackson's coming into town, and hopefully I'll get a second crack at it. So maybe I'll have an update. I had a chance to buy my first mantle.
So what if you were to be able to acquire it in time? Is the goal to bring it to the National and make a deal there? Or do you have maybe some customers lined up?
I have multiple guys who want it already locally. A little bit would depend on the grade.
Right.
So if it got...
So you got some customers who like, it's got to be a 4 or better, and you got other customers like, I'll take it. Like,
no,
I only got so much money, and I need to be low grade.
I'd say more the other. I'd say it's more the
low grade. Yeah. They just want to get a copy.
If it graded a 5 or higher, I'd probably auction it actually.
You wouldn't with us this close to the National. You wouldn't.
I mean,
with all the money in the building. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I'd
probably could move it. I mean, you probably could even find the right buyer there. I mean, that's the perfect place to sell it.
Yeah, I would bring it if we got it back in time, and obviously.
I mean, you would because you're gonna pay the what's the fee on like a 4?
$2,000 to grade it.
Yeah, so you get it back in a week.
Yeah, so if I obtain it, if I get it this week and shipped it, I'd have it back a week before.
Yeah, and that's a month before the National or whatever. So we got
other big news that I don't know if I shared this last time, but we had a customer. I'm actually working on buying this. He actually just got a PSA 9 on an SP Authentic Brady rookie.
Oh, nice.
Which
Very
is
nice.
They're about.
They're numbered 2,000.
They're numbered to 1250.
1250. Okay.
So it's his highest end non-autographed rookie. Yep. So that's.
I always remember the Moss was out of 2,000.
And to get a 9, I mean, they upcharged me to $1,000 on that card to grade it.
Okay.
So it's $1,000 to grade at that price point.
Well, that's very interesting. I've never had one in my hand. In the 80s. I saw multiple Mantle rookies on tables locally, which is crazy, by the way. Crazy. Like, I went to the Anoka County Armory, and I saw 2 Mickey Mantle rookies at the Anoka County Armory. Yeah, this is a nothing show. Yeah. This is a nothing show. But in 1987, we're not that far removed from, garage sales and finding stuff and so, but yeah, I've seen like 2 or 3 of them, but I'm 9. No one's gonna let me hold it.
I heard a story at a flea market years ago of a guy who said he went to Twins Fest one year. And a kid walked in with a 52 Mantle and sold it for $10,000 cash, and went through all these people, got the money, stuffed it in his pocket, and ran out of the place.
Just ran?
And was just so excited. Which it must have been a pretty high grade
at the time,
Mantle to be 10,000 raw,
Because I would say like a 3 or 4, like 4 or 5 years ago was only like 8 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy. So the
I'm trying to remember a specific one. I can't remember what I was told that it got sold for.
When we opened the shop, the rule of thumb was 10,000 per grade. So, So a 2 was 20, a 3 was 30, a 4 was 50.
Okay.
I remember on Proxy Bid back in the day. I actually watched. This is probably right before we opened the store. A PSA 6 52 Mantle went up for auction.
Okay.
And at the time, I told my wife, I'm like, this is an unbelievably good investment. Like, we didn't have the capital to buy it, but I watched it, and it went for 50, and now that card's worth close to 200, I would think.
Wow.
So that card.
You got it, what, 4 years?
So, yeah, no, that was in 2013, so about 7 8 years ago.
Yeah. 4 times your investment, 7 years is.
And not just 4 times your investment, 4 times your investment on a big dollar amount.
Oh, yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean? Whereas
right.
Sometimes if I can get 100% return in 4 years on 100,000, that's,
No, that's the same thing with real estate. As the $18.7 million house goes up 4%, but the $100,000 house goes up 80%, Cause
I'm actually looking up
the mobility is better.
Mantles and see what a 6 is actually selling for right now, because So obviously, every time there's been one of these record sales on the really, really high end ones, it's obviously
bumped up the lower end.
So a 7 sold for $350. $350,000. So a 6 was probably close to $250, maybe.
Wow.
$250. A 4 just sold for $120. A 3 sold for $85.
That's nuts.
Another three sold for $60. So a little bit depends on the centering of the.
Well, I mean, think about it.
3 that's dead centered is going to sell for $10,000 more than an off-center 3. So,
but think about it. Back when I was a kid, I mean,
yeah.
You could pick up probably a. No, you wouldn't have been graded, but something around a 4, you could probably pick it up for $500.
Right.
You know, so from a long term standpoint, you're talking 30 years. You know, went from 500 to 40,000.
Now the pop report
50,
I know is way less than Jordan rookies, but my hope is that Jordan rookies, even if they do a percentage of that will be the next mantle.
Well, it will. Well, the other thing too is the Jordan is far more marketable for more demographics than the mantle is.
Yep.
And it's not like it's mantle the Yankee and Michael Jordan is a Miami Heat. You know, it's Chicago. It's the third biggest city in the country. So it's not like you're in a weird market where you can't make a compare. But it does appeal to far more different races, far more different age groups, far more just especially with the television commercials and the just the pop culture. Although in the 50s and the 60s, Mantle and Willie Mays was the Michael Jordan at the time.
Yep.
But then a lot of those primary fans, and then what Evan was saying, is that's another big one. But those fans are sadly not with us more and more every year.
Yeah.
So then Jordan now becomes the I remember when.
Right.
With I don't remember Mantle. I remember his lore. I remember his cards. I never watched.
And then what happens is cards get to a place like that. Mantle card has gotten to a place where it no longer is actually even as much connected to Mickey Mantle's performance as it is the market of that card's consistent sales. It builds its own. In other words, it becomes this card that has sold for X amount of dollars, and so now it is that, regardless of if the guy was even that good.
I get what you're saying, and I don't think I've ever thought of it like that. The other side of it is he becomes a legend.
Well, it's like George Mikan's card. George Mikan's not Michael Jordan, but that card is sold for such crazy high dollar amounts because it's the first vintage basketball card. He's
the guy at that time, and now his legend takes over because I never saw him play.
Yep.
I never saw
it's like
Mickey
Tesla.
Mantle play.
It's actually just like Tesla. Tesla right now.
Babe Ruth, legend, right? He just is.
But I'm saying more like, so Tesla is trading at a price to earnings that doesn't make any sense because it's a trading vehicle. It's an investing vehicle, and there is some future but dude,
no
but they're
stock
being
heavily subsidized by the government as well.
But no stock has ever had the price to earnings that Tesla has, and part of it is I think people think Elon Musk is gonna take something to the moon. I don't know what they think he's gonna do. He's gonna develop something that's gonna change everything.
Well, that's part of it. It's it's not just what is he doing now, but what will he do in the future.
It is kind of this excitement around it.
That's why you invest in 3M, right? 3M isn't oh man, look at this Scott tape and Post-it notes. It's okay, they're a factory for inventing new stuff. They've demonstrated that they're constantly making new products. Yep. I'm not investing in just what their products are now, but all the stuff they're going to make.
Their potential.
I don't even know what it is, and then all of a sudden, Velcro,
and they have the research team, and they have the capital,
the culture,
and they have the distribution, they have
they
have it all, right?
Right.
And so part of that's Tesla's value is more than just electric.
One of the things I remember reading in business school about 3M, and I'm going to get the hours wrong, but I think it was they got 8 hours, everybody in the company. So if you were a secretary, if you were a janitor, if you were executive vice president, 8 hours a week or 6 hours a week, you could work on any project that you wanted to work on. So the janitor could work on some adhesive if you wanted to. If you just was kind of interested in some adhesive and wanted to dabble around, he could do that. And so a lot of 3M culture was that. It was
creativity. It's
just do what you're interested in, and then of course, because you work for 3M, they get the patent because you were on hours. No, I do believe they shared in the profit whenever you came up with
3M. I dated a girl before I was married a long time ago whose dad worked for 3M.
Yeah.
literally one of the most amazing companies to work for you can imagine. He'd been there for 20 years. The amount of paid vacation, the pension, the way they treat their customers, from what he told me, obviously their employees. I mean, it was second to none. Like literally, like the.
Well, I mean, think about it. You're a guy who empties the trash, and you get time to play with stuff.
Yeah.
And just do some research and see if you can't figure something out. Yeah. And you got to figure the failure rate's got to be 99%, 99.9%. You know, right. Failure rate's massive. The only difference is the one success is a whole nother company.
Right.
You know, it just becomes a whole
and
new
they
thing.
can absorb the small loss because they've leveraged the 0.1% gains so profitably.
And also, I mean, you're sitting on 90,000 employees, and it's like, somebody's going to come up with something cool.
Yeah.
You know, so that I remember I was reading about 3M a lot in business school, and that try to borrow some of that for your own business.
3M, what does it stand for, John? Do you know?
Minnesota Machinery and Mining, or Mining and Machinery?
Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing?
Manufacturing.
I think it's mining and manufacturing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's manufacturing.
Definitely one of the most well-known
Minnesota trivia.
Yeah.
That's what this podcast is about, Minnesota trivia.
Minnesota trivia.
So what are you seeing in terms of sales at the store?
Yeah, so we had a long conversation yesterday about definitely wax has slowed down. And
Yep.
I think a lot of it's connected to obviously PSA being closed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see how what PSA does affects that. I mean, we have the summer lull as far as sports cards on eBay. eBay just slows down a little bit. We've still sold some decent higher ticket items. I mean, we're still shipping 10, 15 cards a day.
I haven't noticed my eBay has done anything different.
I mean, I'll say this much. Just traffic in the store is still pretty good. I mean, kids are off school now, so we see more kids during the day and stuff and more people. But, like, clearly people have other things they're able to do now. So,
now, as far as Evan and I can't remember what Evan said something to me, and I said, summer's slow. If you're not a summer specific business, and especially if you're retail, Valley Fair and the splash pad are getting all the business.
Right.
Stores, no matter what industry you're in, you're just not going to get your customers.
Oh, like
we get them back in September.
Yeah. Like retail in general, I can't imagine like the malls are probably dead. Too.
Right.
You know, I mean, the malls were dead prior to COVID due to Amazon and just the convenience of shopping online, let alone now. I mean, the Burnsville Mall, I saw half capacity. You know, stores are out. Now we actually, I was like, I wonder what our numbers on the month will be. We were barely down. May was barely down over April.
Right.
And it was about the same as last May, which that was the beginning of the.
Right.
So I mean, it's.
So I think we're going to see in the next 6 months. We're going to see probably a change in revenue. No, I won't.
Yeah.
If I do, then I should just pack it up and leave.
Yeah.
Right, because last year was my first year.
Right.
I can't manage last year's sales in a quarter. That's going to be a problem.
Right.
So I've actually turned down 15 people this week buying retail wax.
They're trying to sell
it. It's just everybody's trying to sell it.
Yep.
Are you still getting tons of calls for people trying to sell? And then are you turning down that? Are you still buying?
We've turned it down. Oh, I've bought a little bit of Chronicles. The only thing I'm really buying is football.
Okay.
Getting ready for the season. I think right now we're about 3 or 4 weeks from football really getting exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been shipping more football. People have been buying football. I think they're kind of.
Do you think it's starting early?
Prospecting. Yeah.
I mean, June would be very early for football.
No, I mean now it's basically they report. Training camp gets full go. Just after July 4th. So,
yeah, and then like we said last podcast, the national last week in July, you really start hearing football heavy. Now, I've seen a few articles with, this is very strange, and I don't remember this happening before, but like I heard Tua threw 5 picks in camp today. It's like, have you ever heard this much? Like Jordan Love did this. Have you ever heard this much detail in this first OTA?
Not this much news, no.
Like, it's weird, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, all it would normally be is like a catastrophic injury, or like, somebody like Odell Beckham's back and healthy and no.
Yeah, I've never remembered someone saying, well, Justin Herbert went 8 for 12, and like, who cares? Like,
no one cares.
Now, my question is, with all this extra news, if this becomes a thing, do we see card prices going up and down based on Tua throwing 5 picks?
Not as much on him throwing 5 picks in practice. Trevor Lawrence having a bad hamstring and maybe missing.
No, but listen, we have. I've literally have never really seen an article written like this ever before, and I've seen 3 in the last 2 days. And this is like an article about Tua throwing 5 picks in practice.
Yeah. They must have good corners down in Miami. I don't know.
The other one I heard was, what is it? Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins has a special relationship with Patrick Peterson on the field so far in OTAs.
And what do you mean by that?
Peterson kept picking him off, I guess. Yeah, a special connection.
I mean, Patrick Peterson is elite, man. I mean, I'm glad we got him.
No, so his question.
Part of it is I having played football.
Yeah.
I put so little on practice because
I'm not saying it's important. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and for people that are listening to it, like, understand how different an NFL game is than an NFL practice.
But let's understand something. I sold Ball after one preseason game because he quadrupled in price overnight.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't sell the hype. I wouldn't let the fear of some dip.
So definitely sell the hype if there's a hype based on some 3-touchdown performance.
I'm not selling the hype of the preseason based on Mahomes saying they're going 20-0 because I'm holding them to actually. I think Mahomes is, I mean, they actually do have a chance.
And this is usually going to be based on younger players too, anyways. Like a Mahomes or Brady, no one's going to really care. Even a Kirk Cousins special connection with Peterson. But like a Tua or a Herbert or a Burrow,
he was questionable.
The market might read that article and decide to buy or sell based on it, which is not good advice.
No, I wouldn't take that advice.
Because a lot of things is like these practices are very much like minor leagues for baseball, and you really got to take minor league stats with a grain of salt.
Well, I'd say they're more like spring training. They're more like spring training than minor league.
Well, right? No. The reason what I was getting into is in the minor league, they might tell a hitter, you have to take the first 2 pitches.
Yeah.
And I don't give a crap what pitch they're throwing.
Yeah, it's not a realistic
You keep
scenario.
swinging on the first. You keep going down 0-2, and I'm sick of it. You're taking the first 2 pitches. I don't care what it is. And if you go down 0-2 because it's 2 call strikes, that's fine. They're just trying to get him to stop.
Work on something.
Right?
Or saying,
so then all of a sudden, his batting average dips 90 points.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're working on something. Or a pitcher is like, okay, we're adding a changeup.
Yeah.
He's never threw a changeup before. And then getting rocked every time he throws it. I don't.
To your point,
those stats don't really matter.
To your point, they're trying to get better. They're not trying to impress people with stats. The team as a whole is trying to get better.
Right.
So, like to your point about Patrick.
Or they might tell Tua, okay, Tua, I want you to do this, and then it's like, okay, that didn't work. Do it again. Okay, that didn't work. Do it again, and then he's learning how to do whatever that thing they're working on.
Well, and to be honest, a pick by Patrick Peterson on Kirk Cousins could have as much to do with the receiver than it does the quarterback.
Oh, true.
Like, receivers run wrong routes and get picked.
Run the other way.
So, like, part of it is understanding the nuances of the sport.
But so I guess the advice here is if some third string quarterback that got drafted in 2019 comes in and throws 5 touchdowns and he's selling for more than Tua, just go ahead and sell that card.
Yeah. Don't sell the hype. I wouldn't sell the fear. Or
I mean, especially when a guy is established.
I'll tell you.
No reason. So what are we at? We're at 59-43 at the end of the third.
16. No, end of halftime.
Is it halftime?
Yeah,
beginning of the third.
So we're coming in.
So what? 16. 16.
Yeah. So I mean, playoffs are weird. We got. Here's the crazy part, John. There is going to be a team win the championship that has never won it unless it's the Sixers, right? The Sixers are the only team left that's won.
That hasn't been since the 70s, right?
So literally, you're gonna have a team that hasn't won since the 70s because the Bucks have won it way back in the day. Kareem.
Okay, yeah, but still, we're talking.
So
70s
other than that, though,
80s.
so Brooklyn's never won it, Phoenix has never won it, the Clippers have never won it, and the Jazz have never won it. And the Hawks have never won it. No, I don't think the Hawks have. So literally, this is fun for me because you also have a bunch of stars. You have Donovan Mitchell breaking out, which, by the way, I'm very surprised how Donovan Mitchell's prices have not moved.
Booker
as
has.
well as he's played. Hawks 1-58.
But how about this though? Weren't Donovan Mitchell's prices up already?
They were.
And how much room was there? Where Booker has gone up.
Yeah, Booker has probably been the best beneficiary. Chris Paul too, I would think.
Chris Paul,
if I looked at Chris Paul's
always been kind of
he's been low.
a nothing. In terms of card prices. Not in terms of basketball ability, Chris Paul, because I know you listen to this podcast. I'm not trying to insult you.
Yeah. Which is interesting. I'm excited for the Suns. I'm excited for the Suns and whoever wins, Jazz or Clippers.
So I asked you this before we started. So you think the Bucks would still beat the Sixers?
Yes.
If they get past it, and then who's out of the West? Do you think?
Man,
so, I mean, the Suns are riding the momentum.
I think the best player left in the West is Kawhi Leonard. So if the Clippers can somehow get past the Jazz, I like them matching up the way they shot the ball last night.
What if it's Clippers-Bucks?
Clippers-Bucks. I'm trying to think of who on the Clippers could guard Giannis. It's a very unique matchup. Paul George has been the big question mark. He didn't play good in the first series.
Yeah.
He played really well last night. So the question is, can he,
another Joe Harris, man.
The Nets can't make a shot. I don't think I have a clear in the West. I think any of those three teams could win.
Well, I'll tell you this. This actually leads into something I did want to talk about.
Yeah.
We had this conversation. A few people, because of the playoffs are here, and people, customers will come in, and believe it or not, in a sports card store, you tend to talk about sports a decent amount.
Yeah.
I know.
Big surprise.
It's crazy. So you'll hear people go, who do you like in this game? Who do you like in this series?
Yeah.
And my response is always, well, I got 3 rookie cards of that guy, and I got a 101 of this guy. I'm going Bucks. So I said before, I was like, well, we're doing a show in Des Moines, a show in Chicago at the National, and a show in Dells.
Yep.
I'm rooting for the Bucks the whole way.
Yeah.
To get that little regional premium, that regional excitement. Not that I'm really holding a ton of Bucks, but I'm not holding a lot of Nets either.
Right.
So do you do that in playoffs and games? Do you kind of think about who you're holding for who you're rooting for? I know if Minnesota's not it.
Well, no. Here's what I did. Prior to the season, went heavy on Durant just because I thought Brooklyn, if they were healthy, were the best team in the league, which I still think they are if they're healthy. I think they could still win this series even without Kyrie or Harden if they lose. I don't think they can win with just Durant, but I think they can win with 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
Just give me one of them. Just give me Kyrie or Harden.
But the best chance to have of winning with just one is Durant. So at least that guy, at least the best one is in there.
You can't not have Durant to win, but you need Joe Harris or somebody else to actually play well.
What's your feeling on Middleton? Long term, is he ever going to be a star, or is he always going to be that role player, that second, third
he's
guy?
Never going to be better than Giannis or like the face. I mean, he's a pretty good undervalued player. He scores pretty well. I mean,
I keep seeing his name.
He reminds me of like Kyle Lowry. He's better than people think, but the hobby doesn't appreciate it. And it's just kind of
But he's more than even a semi-star.
No,
he's
an all-star.
He's still star.
He'll be an all-star a few more times.
Yeah, so I'm holding on Middleton and some Giannis. So I'm rooting for the Bucks.
You're rooting for the Bucks? Yeah,
and I want my $20.
Well, and I have 400 on the Brooklyn to win it all to pay 800, so I'm obviously still wanting.
Okay, so I got a $20 bet. You got a 4. Yeah, I want my $20.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. And you might get it if they don't get this game. I don't know how.
Now, what were you getting paid out on the 400? That's the problem with that bet.
2.2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my 4 pays 8.
When did you make the bet?
A month left in the season.
Oh, I didn't realize it would pay that much considering how overpowered the Nets were.
Oh yeah,
but it's kind of like my taking the field, and you're saying it was 2-1 still in Vegas. I was like, okay.
Hit a shot, Blake Griffin, one time. He's played pretty well in this series. It's crazy to think. I mean, the first game he scored like 18. I don't think he's really done much since.
He's done a whole lot.
Yeah, the playoffs are interesting on the East. If the Nets are not healthy and they get beat, I think it's Milwaukee for sure. Like I don't think Atlanta or Philly have a chance.
Here's the thing. Now I'm going to be a little torn in the East. Yeah. Or better yet,
And actually, whoever comes out of the East, I think, wins it all. So I don't think the West can beat either of these.
Okay, teams. I'm okay with that because I am also holding 2 boxes of 2014 Prism basketball with Embiid rookies in it. So I just don't want the Nets to win.
We're not saying you're selfish, John, but that's very
I'm going
interesting.
Sixers and 4 bucks. But I've been doing that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I've done it so much as I'll watch a game against the Vikings.
Yeah.
And I'll have the opposing running back, some rookie, and I'll say, I want the Vikings to win, but I want that running back to get 200 yards. And somehow still have us win.
Yeah, because when you have a fantasy team playing against
fantasy and cards are very
Wow, that
similar.
was Harden's first make. He was 1 for 8. Now he's 1 for 8. That's
whoa,
bad.
we got 2 points in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem is he's not healthy. Obviously, he's out there because
what's the injury on him?
Hamstring.
Is it hamstring? Oh, so he can't run.
No, so you could tell he's.
And doesn't have an explosion. When
he's relying on his shooting, but. Even as a jump shooter, when your hamstring's not good, it's hard to get elevated.
I mean, it's in the name, you're a jump shooter,
yeah. It's like, Brooke Lopez, are you going to – wow.
Oh, we hit that one.
Lopez again.
All right, how deep are we? I think it's going to be a short one.